Hey guys, welcome back. I know I've dragged CGC a lot on the channel. Again, I don't grade cards. This isn't a bias. I don't care. I'm not going to send cards to them or anyone else. I just think it's important that people know all the shady stuff that goes on with these grading companies. And CGC is certainly off to a good start where they've recently entered the game. Before they graded comics and junk. But now, into the Pokemon world. I guess, in my opinion, I don't think they'd be anywhere close to what they are right now without that 2021 boom. Same reason we're seeing all those garbage three-letter grading companies that are popping up everywhere. Just a friendly reminder to everyone. Before all this, no one wanted to send anything to anyone other than PSA. With the exception of maybe a really high graded BGS, and usually that was only for certain cards like Charizards and anything like that, where someone thought that maybe they could get a premium if they get a black label, if they get a 10, BGS 10 or whatever. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying CGC doesn't have a shot, that they can't prove themselves long term, or any of the other grading companies, but I think you'd be silly to dump your money into any of it. Unless you're quick flip dipping and you think you can sell your CGC graded cards at a premium, which was what a lot of people have done, and what is probably going to lead with into that junk slab era that everyone speaks of, where everyone graded everything that shouldn't have been graded, that had no business being graded, and it's going to be a crack fest for the binder collectors like myself when all is said and done. Might not be, but that's my prediction. We'll see how it turns out. So let's see here. The first offense, this shiny Charizard VMAX, and maybe I'll put a link or a little tag to all the videos that I'm mentioning in this video, in case you guys want to learn more about it. We're just going to briefly cover a lot of this stuff. So here is, I guess, the first time that I guess many people would have seen this inadvertent early release. As we like to call it, stolen. So this is ridiculous. I can't believe that a company would do this on purpose, grade stolen cards. And even worse is the fact that it has a special label. So not only can you get something graded early and flip it for extra money because people are impatient, they want to have the first graded copy, but also now it has a marker on it that's going to probably add additional value. It's forever marked as that stolen card as long as it stays in the case. And this is just an incentive. This is a straight up incentive for people to steal the cards from the print facility, the shipping or distribution before it reaches stores. And again, if it's more than a month out, stores do not receive product that early. They don't accidentally receive it that early. It is distributor or further back. So They only have the cards printed a few months in advance. So if it's a few months in advance, it's from the print facility, almost certainly. So this was submitted by Hangs, which confirmed stolen all around. The private investigator, I was in touch with them. That was the first time I was in touch with them. In reference to Charizard and this stolen shiny Charizard VMAX. The first big event, I guess, from that print facility. And here we have some DMs between Hangs, the owner of the Charizard, and a high-level employee from CGC. And you'll see here that basically they don't care. They just they talked to their lawyer, and he said they only authenticate the cards and grade the cards. That's it. And that they don't have to worry about the card being stolen. I don't know. To me, that's a pretty bad look. Just in general, grading this stuff. There's a reason why the other grading companies don't do it. I get that CGC wants to get the attention or whatever that they're seeking from this. Whether it be, I guess it's like any marketing or any attention is good attention at this point in time. But you have to. It has to make you think. If they show a lack of ethics to this level on something like this, what else wouldn't be off the table? Like, you think they aren't doing some kind of other little deal that's going to benefit them? Like, this is obviously going to benefit them for exposure. So can you imagine what they would do for money, or maybe some other form of exposure? I don't know. Looking at you. Little throwback to the BGS Charizard that all of a sudden got better in condition somehow when a certain Logan Paul submitted it. Who knows? Like, there's only so much that people actually catch on to. There's so much opportunity for these grading companies to take advantage of every direction of anything. I can only imagine the schemes and stuff that could go on behind the scenes, whether it be special treatment for someone, or grading stuff beforehand. Special send it in to me. It's stolen. We want the exposure, so you can we'll grade your stuff early. All right, so enough of that, I guess. We'll get into again inadvertent early release on a special delivery Zard. It's not released and almost certainly stolen. Interesting enough. Why would PSA, why would BGS not grade this? I can tell you why. Because they know it's stolen and they don't want anything to do with it. Whether or not you think that it holds up in court, you still don't do it. It just looks bad. You're supposed to be authenticating things, not verifying that they're stolen and putting a premium on them. So here, again, with the confirmed stolen celebration cards, we know these were stolen. Anyone that was paying attention. CGC claims that they do all this fancy-dancy research to prove that everything's real. They have like a very basic lab to tell you that the card stock, and they can look at a microscope, under the microscope, or under some sort of magnification, and tell you that the card stock is real. Big deal. I can do that right here at my desk. So, interesting enough. More stolen cards. More stolen labels. It might as well say Stolen Dolan 69 420 on the label, not inadvertent early release. And I guess last but not least, let's get into Proto Toys. For anyone that doesn't know, these have started popping up in the last few years. In particular, we have this Blastoise with the Magic card back primarily. And CGC apparently did all this forensic research. The problem with this, and the reason why it shouldn't be graded, it shouldn't be authenticated, is because you can't verify the story on this. No one can. It's ridiculous to think that you can. And if you're just going to grade anything that anyone brought home that was scraps from WotC, then Shell is going to be LOLing all the way back to his basement to pull some more of this shit off the shelves. Because they just had a scrap table and they brought all this stuff home. So if someone sent something off to get printed, and whether it was them fucking around or, an actual test print or anything like that, it's weird to like put test print on there. The biggest issue with that is that the story is coming from an employee who owned or owns multiple copies of the card. He could have another sheet of these fuckers in his basement, and like, what do you do at that point? Like, your story falls apart. There's even, I guess I'll link the Proto Toys one as well as we get into these. So click on that. But he had the ability to put his name on a bunch of like a Sarah Angel that he wasn't the artist of, but he put his name, Shell BS, at the bottom. So like, they could have made any of this shit. It wasn't actually released. There's no official story. There never will be an official story because Nintendo and WotC are never going to come out and tell you what it is. Both for legal reasons and just in general. There's probably no one that even knows. All the Shell stuff, all the Shell stories. You see DMs from him because there was that G-Baller69 that posted on E4, lost his shit and like deleted all his comments and stuff. He posted some DMs from Shell, and he didn't even sound like he was certain. So then all of a sudden you get into this, and now CGC knows for sure that this is the exact story. Shell's selling a copy of Protostoys. God knows how many he has, but he was selling one through somebody else who was stupid enough to say, like, hey, yeah, I'm selling this for Shell. He didn't want to be the one selling it. Obviously not, because it would look bad when he's the one telling the story about this shit. Oh, God. Protostoys is frustrating. It is absolutely frustrating. Someone spent way too much money on it, and it's just packed with, like, fabricated backstory that is almost certainly fake. And just, oh my God, there's so much vested interest. It's insane. Then, even worse, I guess we'll tag Heritage Live in here as well. This is also the most ridiculous shit. We had Protostoys, but now it has no back on it. It's just a white back, and there's only 2 copies of this. Apparently, all of a sudden, the history is solved. Everyone knows everything about Protostoys. There's only 2 that ever existed, and this one's the only one that you can get right now. And of course, it goes for like record dollars to somebody that had too much money to dump into it, I guess. Regardless, I don't know, guys. These grading companies, they all do it at some point, one point or another. They screw up, and this doesn't look like it's anything that was unintentional. We had recently PSA graded Gary's Pokemart Venusaur, and retracted the cert number because it was graded by accident. That's not company policy, and whether or not that gets through, sneaks through, and it's just one employee. On the other hand, when this is like company policy that you're going to put inadvertent early release on stuff, encourage theft, encourage people to purchase these stolen cards, it's not good for the hobby. It's not a good look on you. And yeah, pretty much you should be ashamed for having that designation. It should be more thought put into that, and it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. See you next time.